Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 398th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Straight away you'll see this battle was fought on one of my favourite maps, the Germanic Forest map. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Lando, who has bought the Rome Giulio faction. A lot of you know him as Turbo, but he calls himself Lando now. As you can see, a lot of his army are hiding in the woods, so we'll have a little look at his army a little bit later on. Okay, our second teammate is Brotherhood member JGP, who's bought the Germania faction. Let's have a look at what he's got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 6 chosen axemen. Let's have a look at the upgrades. Okay, he's got 7 upgrades. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his chosen axemen. If we look a little bit closer at them, as you can see, they've got effective against armor axes, and used correctly, they can cut wide swathes through heavily armored troops like Roman urban cohorts. Okay, so they're pretty tough, and they can do a lot of damage. Okay, let's have a closer look at the berserkers there. Okay, and the berserkers here, very elite troops. They got effective against armor maces, 2 hit points, really good attacking specifications, and they bring a big fear factor as well, which of course lowers the morale of enemy troops and makes them more susceptible to routing. I call the Germania troops actually shock troops, because those effective against armor axemen and these berserkers and night raiders as well, which also bring a fear factor, they are like shock troops, and using coordination with their allies, they can rout Roman armies. Seems to be quite easily actually. So it'll be interesting to see how well this army does. JGP very good with Germania. So it'll be interesting to see how well he handles them there. I see he's got 1, 2, 3. He got 4 chosen archers. Remember, barbarian troops very susceptible to missile damage, so you actually need cover fire for them, and that's why he's got 4 chosen archers. And I see his general is a night raider, and I see he's got I think it's 8 upgrades, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on that night raider unit. And remember, these night raiders are good infantry in their own right, but they also bring a fear factor to the battlefield, lower morale of enemy troops like the berserkers, and making them more susceptible to routing. I think he's got 6 cavalry there. And let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry. Okay, he's got 1, 2, 3. I think he's got mixed upgrades. He's got 7 upgrades and 8 upgrades on his cavalry. And remember, these Gothic cavalry are very underestimated cavalry. If you have a look at their specifications, they are really good elite cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see how well JGP uses those over the course of the battle. So there's Germania. Remember, it's a very strange faction. It can be extremely fragile if you attack at the wrong time and units start routing. Or in coordination with their allies, they can be battle-winning troops. So it'll be interesting to see how well they do during the course of the battle. And our third teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's bought a very old army, this time of 13 infantry and 5 cavalry. And of course, it's the Rome Scipii faction there. So there's our team. Should be a great one to watch. And as we said, we'd have a look at Lando's army here as he was hiding in the woods. If you remember, if you notice there, I think it's got 14 infantry, including an eagle unit there and his infantry general there. So he's got a lot of morale going on there with his infantry, 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Now remember, Lando is a very aggressive attacking player. Withdraw or retreat is not in his vocabulary. He's always been an aggressive attacking player. Now it'll be interesting to see if he's going to do the same in this battle. Okay, as I say, he always leads the charge. It'll be interesting to see. Okay, and here is the enemy team. We have RTW player Trump 2020 Make America Great, who has bought the Greek cities faction. And I think he's got 20 units of Spartans. Okay, so he's got no Cretan archers, no cavalry or anything like that. He's just got 20 Spartan units. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does with 20 Spartan units. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought the Rome Brutio faction. As you can see, most of his army is hiding in the woods at the moment, but we'll have a look at it a bit later on, because it is an interesting army build, and I think you'll find it quite interesting there. Okay, and their third teammate is Brotherhood member Bark, who has bought the Seleucid faction. Bark is getting very good with Seleucid. He's just got the right army for himself as well. So there's the other team. As I say, it should be a great battle for you to watch. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Mad King's army. As you can see, he's only got 8 infantry units, okay? 8 infantry units, incredibly low for the modern 31k battlefield. But let's have a little bit of a closer look at those 8 infantry units. Can you see he's got an Eagle unit as his pilot shield unit there? So that's straight away going to give morale to his rest of his infantry there. But if you notice, he's got 7 urban cohorts. Let's have a look at the upgrades. Okay, wow, fully upgraded urban cohorts, 9 upgrades. So that's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now, as we know, urban cohorts do really well with just gold shield, gold attack. You put 3 experience stripes on and make them veteran units, and they are going to be absolutely superb infantry. Okay, he's only got 7 urban cohorts there, but they are fully upgraded. So they are going to be incredibly difficult to kill, and my guess is they'll probably fight right down to the last man as well before they rout. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does with those. And as you can see, he's got 6 cavalry because he spent his money on his infantry. I'm thinking, yep, he just got 6 upgrades on his cavalry. That's gold shield, gold attack. So that'll be an interesting army to see how well it does during the course of the battle. And as you can see, Bark here, he's got 1, 2. I think he's got something like 10 or 11 pike units there. Plus, of course, he's got 4 archer units there because those pike units are so susceptible to archer damage. And he's got 5 cavalry hiding in the woods there. I think they've got 7 upgrades, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, as we said earlier, Lando, or Turbo, as a lot of veterans know him here, very aggressive, always leads the charge. You know, you can always depend on Lando to, as I say, lead the charge and be aggressive and attacking there. If you notice, our Germania ally is staying at the back there, keeping out of archer range. As we said, those barbarian troops are incredibly susceptible to missile damage, so JGP is keeping them at the back there. So as I say, this should be a great battle for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, at this stage of the battle, you can see Lando taking his Rome Julii troops, looking like he's trying to move over to our left flank there. But if you notice, the Greek city generals brought out a large portion of his army there as well. Okay, now if Lando keeps moving left, he's going to expose his flank to a flanking attack there by those Greek city units. Okay, now if you were that Greek city general, I bet you would charge into the flank of that moving Julii infantry if you get the chance. Okay, so that's what Trump looks like he's doing. The Rome player, the Greek cities player there. And if you notice, he's keeping a reserve army of 6 Spartan units at the rear there. Okay, so he's going to have 14 pike units, spear units at the front here. And as we just guessed there, can you see he's going to charge into the flank of that moving Julii infantry. So Lando needs to be aware of that, because of course the flank and the rear are the 2 weakest parts of any unit on Rome Total War. The Greek city general knew that and charged straight in here, very aggressive with his Greek city units. Let's say a lot of people used to play Greek cities as a defensive force, and they were very good at being defensive, but you can also, if you look at their specifications, they got great attacking specifications. This is a nice aggressive attack here by the Greek cities general. Okay, if you notice, Lando now has turned his Julii troops to face the threat, and if you can see, loads of missiles going into those Greek cities, loads of pilers, loads of arrows going into the Greek city units there, so they will be suffering some casualties there, but because of their 2 hit points, they do suffer less casualties from missiles than other units on RTW. Okay, right, you can see now Lando is doing a concerted attack on those forward units of the Greek city faction there. But as I said before, Roman generals not too keen usually on attacking spears or pikes head on. Okay, it's an unusual tactic unless you've got a plan. Alright, and it just looks to me like Lando's being aggressive there and attacking those forward units. Okay, my Scipio army behind, I'm throwing loads of pilers. I've thrown loads of pilers into those Greek city units to try and weaken them a bit. But as I say, you can see Lando here being aggressive and attacking those forward units of the Greek cities there, as I'm still throwing in some pilers into those Greek city units. Let's say, don't forget, the Greek city general there has got 20 Spartan units. That's a lot of Spartans there, but of course, because he's got 20, he won't have great upgrades on them, but it'd be just interesting to see how well he does there. Right, if you notice here, can you see Lando has pulled his Julii army back from those forward Greek city units? Okay. As you can see, Mad King has put his Bruto infantry in behind his Greek city ally there. Obviously there for a bit of support, and also to throw some pilers in if he wants to. Right, now if you notice here, as I say, Lando is pulled away from engaging those Greek city units. He looks like he's pulling over towards our left flank. Okay, you can see, as I say, Lando's decided to go over to the left flank towards the enemy Seleucid army there. Okay, as I said before, as we know, Lando, very aggressive attacking player. As I say, withdrawal, retreat, not in his vocabulary. He always likes to be an out and out attacking player, as we've seen in other battle videos. Okay, you see he's really going over to our left flank here, looking to engage the Seleucid, enemy Seleucid faction there. Got his cavalry and infantry, and he's pulled all the way over to our left flank. Right, newer players to Rome Total War, can you see any potential danger here? Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. Okay, can anybody see any danger? Can you see that Lando has pulled right over to our left flank and engaging the Seleucid faction there? But can you see any danger there in doing that at all? Okay, can you see there's a bit of a gap between myself and Lando? Now, if you were the Greek city's general here, what would you do? A Greek city's general, what would you do? I reckon if I was that Greek city general, I'd pull my army over to the left a bit and put a blocking force in there to stop myself or JGP being able to get over to our Julii ally. Okay, so that's what I think. If I was at Greek city general, I would form up there and form a blocking army there, and then allowing his Seleucid ally with his cavalry and a Brutii cavalry there to smash into our Julii ally, which would then be isolated. Okay, so if that Greek city general puts a blocking force up there, then Lando will be isolated from us, because of course we won't be able to get over to reinforce him, because we will be blocked by that Greek city's army. Be interested to see if that's what the Greek city general is going to do, if he's going to move his army there and be a blocking force. Okay, you can see Bart being really aggressive with his Seleucid pikemen there, really moving into Lando's Julii infantry there. As I say, Roman generals don't usually like to fight pikes or spears head on, but Lando seems to be doing it at the moment. Right, can you see the Greek city general bringing his army over? Now, as I say, it'd be interesting to see if he's going to form a blocking force there to stop us from getting over to reinforce our Julii ally. Okay, that's what I would do if I was that Greek city general. I would cut off Lando, stop reinforcements getting to him, and allow his allies' cavalry to and infantry to soften up Lando's troops there. So as you can see here, the Greek city general has put a blocking force in, stopping us from getting over to reinforce our ally. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second for us to see exactly what's going on here. As I say, you can see the Greek city general there, blocking force, put a few lines there to stop us getting across. He may even turn some of his Spartan units in to help his ally. You've got Seleucid cavalry smashing into the flank of Lando, and as you can see here now, Lando is pretty isolated there over on that left flank. Okay, as I say, they've blocked us from getting over to reinforce him, and with that fully upgraded Brutii infantry as well, I don't know whether they're going to charge that into him as well to finish him off. But what I'm going to do here, I want to try and engage those Greek cities. I want to try and play their game. Okay, they've tried to block me here, but what I want to do is engage those Greek cities, to hold and pin them. Okay, and then hopefully JGP and myself might be able to attack the enemy Brutii army, and if we can rout that, we can get in behind them. Okay, so as I say, if JGP and myself, my cavalry, can help JGP there, we could smash into that Brutii infantry, and if we can break that Brutii infantry, okay, we could then go in behind the engaged Greek cities or the engaged Seleucid army there. Okay, so that's what the plan is. I want to hold and pin those Greek cities with my Scipii units there, while we try and break the Brutii units there. As I say, I think it took a brave man to bring Germania in a 3v3 against a pike faction of Seleucid and the Greek cities there. So JGP is going to have to be incredibly tactical and strategic with his Germania army here. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm really pushing in with my Scipii troops. I really want to hold and pin those Greek city units. If possible, bring those units that he's put in behind him to attack our Julii ally, to bring them back over here, okay? So as I say, pushing hard against those Greek city units. As I say, I'd like him to bring those units back over to fight me, to take them away from my Julii ally. Okay, as you can see, there's a massive cavalry battle going on here between the Seleucid and Lando's cavalry there. You've also got the Brutii cavalry there trying to charge into Lando's flank. Okay, so as I say, Lando is isolated there, and it's going to be difficult for us to get over to him to help. Also, as I say, Bark has been incredibly aggressive with his pike units as well. But as I say here, my plan is here to pin and engage as many of those Greek city units as I can, whereas JGP and myself try and break that Brutii infantry if we can. Okay, if between our cavalry and his infantry, if we can break that and get in behind the engaged enemy troops there, so we could charge into the rear of the Seleucid engaged Seleucid pikemen or the Spartan spearmen there. Okay, so that's the basic battle plan here. All right. That's good news. The Greek city's general can see that my infantry is making inroads into his infantry there, so he's brought those 6 units back across to engage my units, okay? So that's good news. So now my infantry is engaging all the Greek city units. So now if we can just break that Brutii infantry and cavalry there, as I say, we can then get in behind the engaged enemy troops. That's our battle plan anyway, okay? So as you can see, but remember those Brutii troops, those urban cohorts are fully upgraded, so it's not going to be as easy as it looks. Okay, over here, I'd just like to show you here, can you see that Lando looks like he's going to charge his cavalry into the Seleucid pikemen? Okay, now on the face of it, that might look a strange move, but he knows that Seleucid morale is not very good. Okay, and we've seen it on lots of other battles. If he could just start a few of those Seleucid units to rout, then that could start a chain rout, and all those Seleucid units could just rout. And I think that could be a battle-winning cavalry charge if it comes off. Okay, so that's what he's trying to do there. I know it looks strange to attack pikes there, but as I say, he knows that their morale's not very good, and the shock of those cavalry hitting them could start a chain rout. Okay, so I can see his tactical thinking here, and if you notice, Seleucid pikes are up. They're not set down. Alright, so it looks like Bark is just moving those units with their pikes up in the air. So that's why I think he's also charging his cavalry in at this time, hoping to catch them. And as I say, if he can get a couple of units to rout, he could get a mass rout here. Meanwhile, over here, as you can see, we've got all the Greek city units now are facing my troops, which is what we wanted. And if you notice, the Berserkers have been activated. See the red banners above them flashing on and off. So we're trying to break those Brutii infantry and cavalry there, so we can get in behind the engaged enemy troops there and either smash into the rear of those engaged Greek city units if we get in behind, or go into the rear of those Seleucid units there. Okay, so that's our, as I say, that's our battle plan, to try and get over to Lando there. As I say, he was a bit isolated, but let's see if this cavalry charge can provoke a mass rout of those Seleucid pikemen. Okay, it's a gamble. It is a real gamble, because if he doesn't do it, he's going to lose all his cavalry. Right, you can see his cavalry charging their wedge formation for great penetration there, and bang, as he smashes into those Seleucid troops. But Bark could see it coming, and he's put his Seleucid pikemen pikes down just as a cavalry hit. And now you can see those brave Julio cavalry there just piling up dead in front of those pikes there. Plus he's got a Seleucid cavalry unit coming behind as well. So unfortunately there, the plan didn't work for Lando, okay? All he's lost now, and what he's done now is lost all that cavalry. See that big pile of his Julio cavalry there, just got taken out on those pikes. Just as he hit, I think Bark just turned his pikes in time and put the pikes down, just as that cavalry hit. So unfortunately there, Lando's lost, I think, all of his cavalry there in that gamble. Now, if it had worked, that could have been a battle-winning cavalry charge there, because if we could have routed the Seleucid, he could then get in behind the engaged enemy troops, but it didn't, unfortunately, work. Okay, so here you can see both JGP and myself here trying to break that Brutii infantry and cavalry there to get in behind the enemy, but of course remember that he's got 7 fully upgraded troops. As you can see, my Scipio troops still engaging the Greeks. They're trying to hold and pin them as long as I can. Well, as I say, we try to break the Brutii faction there and get in behind, but as I say, with those 7 fully upgraded urban cohort units, that's going to be easier said than done. See our cavalry and infantry really, and JGP's infantry really pushing forward. As I say, he's got those berserkers with those effective against armor masons and bringing a big fear factor. You can see a lot of the enemy troops saying intimidated by nearby enemy units. Okay, some of the Greek city units are starting to rout now, and some of the Brutii units are starting to rout as we're trying to desperately trying to break through there to get over to Lando's Julio army. But is it going to be too late? Because I see a lot of Lando's infantry is starting to rout now. Let's pause the game for a second. Okay, he's only got a few units left. You can see that Mad King's brought his fully upgraded urban cohorts over as well to help his Seleucid ally to finish off Lando's Julio infantry there. Okay, so it looks like we're not going to be able to get to Lando by looks of it. I think he'd probably be routed before we can get over there. Let's say we've made some big inroads into the enemy Brutii units there, which we wanted to do. And maybe if we can roll up the Greek cities there, that would be handy. Can you see I'm charging my cavalry on through there into the rear of those engaged Brutii troops, trying to do as much damage as I can, but my cavalry now is extremely battle damaged. Okay, I lost a lot of cavalry over there fighting the Brutii infantry and Brutii cavalry there. You can see JGP bringing his chosen axeman over there as well. Okay, I'm switching targets. I'm trying to go into the back of engaged Greek city units, but as you can see, my cavalry is now extremely battle damaged. Let's just pause the game for a second. Okay, so as I say here, we still got Greek city units. Remember, there's 20 Greek city units there. JGP's bringing his infantry over. We got the berserkers, the fear factor from the berserkers there, plus my infantry still fighting there against those Greek city units. Okay, but over here you can see most of Lando's infantry has now been taken out. Okay, so once his infantry is taken out, those Seleucid pikemen will then change direction and come over to engage us. Okay. As I say, that was a gamble that Turbo did there, that Lando did there, to try and route those, get a mass route going to those pikemen, but unfortunately it didn't work there. So as you can see here, I've got battle damage infantry. Remember, I was engaging the Greek cities for a long time head on, so I would have took a lot of casualties, but that was all part of the battle plan there to try and, as I say, pin and hold those Greek cities while we got in behind them. Okay, you can see here, several of the Greek city units are starting to rout. As I say, those berserker units there will be sapping the morale and lowering, as I say, the morale of enemy troops. They're making them more susceptible to routing. Where you can see I'm charging my cavalry into the back of those engaged troops, and bang, as they smashed in there. We've managed to rout a lot of those Greek city units here, but as you can see, the big bunch of Seleucid pikemen moving across towards us here. Okay, they might be battle damaged, but they are a big chunk of pikes coming towards us here. I say we've routed most of the Greek city units at this time. Okay, so we're doing well against Greek cities. You can see JGP's archers shooting into them all the time, with fire arrows there, lowering the morale as well. But as I say, with that big chunk of Seleucid pikemen coming across to us, plus there are still some Greek city units left here, I think maybe there's a little bit too much for us to do. Here maybe. You've got the Brutii infantry there as well. You've got the Seleucid general still alive, giving good morale bonus to all their troops. And you've got two of the fully upgraded urban cohorts that may have been routed earlier maybe, are now coming over here. They've rallied and are now attacking now. So, as you can see here, I say we still got our 3 berserker units going there, but they're unfortunately charging into the front of spears. Okay, and remember, barbarian troops die very quickly fighting spears or pikes head on, so unfortunately there, and don't forget, as soon as they go berserk, their Germanian general loses all control of them and they just attack the nearest enemy unit. Okay, you can see those fully upgraded Brutii urban cohorts are joining in with their Seleucid ally there. I say it looks like we've probably routed most of the Greek city units. There might be just 1 Greek city unit left. Now remember, there was 20 of those Greek city units, so we've managed to rout 19 of them. So we haven't done too badly there. But those fully upgraded urban cohorts plus those Seleucid pikemen are really coming in on us now. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. Right, I've got 3 battle damaged cavalry units left. I don't want to charge into those pikes because obviously there's just not enough of them to do any damage to those pikes, and I see there's a pike unit facing. What I need to do is get over the other side and maybe charge into the rear of those engaged Brutii troops there with my cavalry. Maybe that might be the way forward. If you notice there, I'm taking my cavalry over to that side, as I say, looking to charge into the flank of that engaged Brutii unit here over on this side. But as you see, a lot of our units are starting to rout. And that, as I say, Bark's been incredibly aggressive with his Seleucid pikemen there. And they're very difficult to kill. Right, you see my Brutii cavalry down. Bang! As they smash into the rear of those engaged Brutii units there. And into the flank of those Seleucid pikemen as well. But there just wasn't enough of them to do any damage. They were so battle damaged, they just didn't have the weight, if you like, to cause the casualties I was after there. Okay. You can see, as I say, Bark really advancing with his Seleucid pikemen there. Very, very, as he has been through the game, very aggressive there. You can see a lot of my units starting to rout. My general's gone now, so I think that the enemy have gone on to to win the battle. So really well played by them. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. And remember, this is only a 3v3. Okay, I think there are 4 distinct parts of the battlefield, if you like. Remember, this is where Lando got caught in the flank here by that Greek city's general attacking his flank as he was moving. But you can see a lot of Spartans down there through pilot hits. Then we move over to this part of the battlefield here where we try to break through that Brutii infantry. Remember to get in behind the engaged enemy troops. And then here, the Greek cities part here, where my troops were trying to engage them there and hold and pin them. And at the rear here, where poor old Lando got isolated, and there's the cavalry that unfortunately didn't quite do what he wanted it to do there, and just piled up in front of those Seleucid pikes. Okay, so it was a very intense battle. As I say, I thought it was brave of JGP to bring Germania against Seleucid and Spartans. As we know, barbarian troops die very quickly on pike and spears when they go up against them. So JGP had to play it very tactically and strategically, and I thought he did extremely well there with his Germania faction, bearing in mind we were up against pike and spear units as well as fully upgraded urban cohorts. As I say, there's only 2 of Mad King's units left, so bearing in mind they were fully upgraded, I guess we didn't do too badly there in there's a couple more very battle damaged Bruto units over there as well, but we didn't do too badly. Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As you can see there, it was a close defeat. It could have gone either way, maybe, right up to the end. Just like to draw your attention to Trump there. Got the highest kills in the game, 1,555, so well done to him with his 20 Greek city units. Mad King probably didn't get the kills that he wanted there, but he did a crucial role in holding as long as he did there with his fully upgraded infantry. Bark did really well with his aggressive tactics there with his Seleucid pikemen. Lando did good as well with the amount of kills he's got. JGP, as I say, did really good, bearing in mind he had Germania against pike and a spear faction there, so he did really good. As I say, it was a brave man bringing Germania against spears and pikes, and he did play really well. So I hope you enjoyed the battle. Spartan Commander saying, I thought it was a different one, and it could have gone either way right down to the end there. Okay, so Spartan Commander saying bye for now, and see you soon.